Most people type random questions into AI. They basically use it like a Google search. But what if you could write a prompt that makes AI think, create, or even reason like an expert? In this episode, we're going to talk about, well, what is a prompt? How do you write a good prompt? And then what makes a great prompt really work? We're going to take a prompt from simple to smart. What exactly is a prompt? A prompt is a set of instructions to tell AI what kind of output you want from it. It could be anything from an itinerary from a trip to a recipe or a report, some kind of creative output. What makes a good prompt or a great prompt different from a bad prompt? Quality input in is going to get quality output back out. So I'm going to show you a bad prompt, a decent prompt, and a great prompt. We're going to demo each one using ChatGPT, and then I'm going to show you the output so that we can see how we got something even more detailed and better overall using the great prompt, and how even the good prompt got a better result versus the bad prompt. Then we're going to talk about what makes the great prompt great. Why does that work? How do we always make great prompts? And we're going to be looking at ChatGPT. We're going to start a brand new chat, and we're going to ask ChatGPT to plan a trip to Las Vegas Strip. By the way, did you know Las Vegas Strip is actually a different city versus Las Vegas? I just found this out yesterday. It's blowing my mind. I had no idea. So we can see it spit out all kinds of stuff. And of course, the first thing it's saying here is like, hey, can you tell me a few things first? Because we didn't give it a lot of information about what we're looking for. We're just saying plan a trip and then where we wanted to go. Trying to figure out like how long you're going to be there, what's your budget, what kind of stuff are you into? Notice it still spit out an itinerary. So then it's going to start trying to figure out like, hey, was this good enough for you? Like, did this do the trick? This is just an okay prompt. I would actually say this is kind of a bad prompt. This is how a lot of people mistakenly use AI. They just think it's kind of this magic box that will know what they want, and you give it something super vague like this and it's going to spit out exactly what you want, but that's not actually how it works. Let's contrast this. Let's say plan a 4-day trip to Las Vegas Strip with food, art, and local experiences. It's a little bit better. We'll talk later about why this is ever so slightly better, but notice I've given it a lot more information. I've told it, hey, we need 4 days worth of activities. We've told it things that we're interested in. It looks like each day kind of has a theme, like nature meets neon. Again, down here at the bottom, it's like, would you like me to tailor this a little bit more? See, I think there's still just not quite enough information for what it really wants. I've got a thing here. You're a travel blogger planning a 4-day Las Vegas Strip itinerary for vegan foodies. Include local gyms, must-try restaurants, and timing per day. Because we've said the audience for what we're looking for is a vegan foodie, which means the quality of the food matters a lot, but also they're vegan, so they have certain dietary preferences that they're going to want. You could change this and say, we're writing this for foodies who love steak or foodies who love Mexican food. You can get as crazy specific as you want. We'll talk more later about why giving more specific information is actually better. Notice they're constantly bouncing from restaurant to restaurant because they're foodies. This is what they came for. And then it's like, hey, do you want me to do a budget-friendly version of this? Or less fine dining, more local eats, keep it luxury vegan as it is? It looks like they were going for like high-end kind of restaurant. I want you to notice just how much more detailed and specific this itinerary was versus that first one. You notice this one's really general. It's not super detailed. You're just kind of getting some restaurants. If you're a vegan foodie, this is going to be way closer to what you actually meant for it to output versus just saying, give me a trip to Las Vegas Strip. If you have any prompts you have found really successful, drop those in the comments. I want to see what you've come up with. Talk to me about why you think that prompt really works for you. What makes that prompt better than either of the other ones? I mean, the other one we said like, hey, I want a 3-day or 4-day itinerary. I want food, I want arts, etc. But then the last one, we got really specific. That's what AI is really looking for. What you're ultimately trying to give it is more context for what you really want. When you're trying to give AI more context for what you want, it's things like the background of why are we trying to write this? What is the purpose of this AI request? You could even talk about the tone. Tone can be really, really huge. You could say, well, I want the language to be business professional, or I want it to be Gen Z slang, or I want it to be Old Testament biblical language. You know, like you can give it whatever kind of tone. That's really addressing the output. You could even give it things like, I want the output as a table. I want it on something that is printable so I can carry it along with me in my pocket. In this last prompt, we gave it a very interesting thing. It's a role. We didn't just say, give me, all these details. We said, you're a travel blogger giving an itinerary for vegan foodies. That's very different. That's highly specific. And what we've basically said is, I want this kind of output from you. You could change that. We're going to grab my prompt here and we're going to change the role. You're a budget conscious vacationer planning a 4-day Las Vegas trip itinerary for vegan foodies. There's lots of options in here. These were definitely not on there. And you can see all we did was change the role that we told AI to play. Take that prompt, play around with it. I'll put the prompt in the show notes. We notice here, this is a different format. You could say, I want to output this as a table. I want to output this as code. You can figure out how you want ChatGPT to output your content, and it will do that for you. You're a travel blogger. Write this as a Victorian English novel style. This is ridiculous. A most curious sojourn among the glittering sands, a vegan gentleman's 4-day expedition along the Las Vegas Strip. You can tell it exactly how you want this thing to output, and it'll do whatever crazy thing you ask it to do. We're going to give a very simple framework. It's the who, what, why, and how. Telling AI who it's trying to be, that's kind of the role that we talked about earlier. The what, that's the task, and the why. What is the purpose of this thing? And then how do you want it to output? All of that stuff is going to make a huge difference in what it's actually going to give you. As we saw, the Victorian English output is very different from a 4-day itinerary that's in a table format. Every single thing that you ask it to do is going to output something different. So tell it exactly what you want. I personally have found one of the best practices when you're writing good prompts, besides obviously giving it lots of good context, talk to it like a person. I've written instructions and asked for things, and I tried to think of it like if I was talking to one of my coworkers and asking for this, what exactly would I tell them? How would I phrase it? How would I put that to them so that they know exactly what I want? Generally across the AI world, what I've heard is if you're a good communicator, you're going to get what you really want out of AI. Being a good communicator makes a big, giant difference. Just in the same way that being a good communicator with humans makes a big difference. So be a good communicator. Tell AI what you want. Give it all the context, give it the who, the what, the why, the how, and it'll give you at least close to what you actually want. In my next episode, though, we're going to give you several different frameworks and what makes each one work and why that's great. Thank you for watching. Go forth and code. Or in this case, prompt.